Hey guys, welcome to the Podium Perspective and the first race review where we're kind of doing two reviews in one. So, this is the Bahrain and Saudi Arabia combined review. Let's start. We're talking obviously about the Red Bull and RB20. Oh my god, we again have a season like 2023. Max has just started out unbelievably amazing, and even Checo is up there this time. What do we make of this?
Yeah. Oh, well, Bahrain was a toughie. If you see, there was a lot of excitement going on first because of the pre-season testing and all of that on the Bahrain circuit. And there were a lot of hopes given by many teams. Like Ferrari was proving themselves to be quite strong in the
Mm-hmm.
pre-season testing. McLaren was showing some pace. Even Mercedes, in fact, was giving us some hope.
Exactly.
It finally felt like some teams were coming closer towards Red Bull. And then the race came and it's just okay, Red Bull was sandbagging. We just got to know that.
True.
Well,
And Bahrain, it was such an unlucky race for these other teams, like, Leclerc having those brake issues, Russell suffering from the overheating of the power unit. It was really, really bad for especially Merc and Ferrari. McLaren were nowhere.
I
Aston Martin
agree
were
with that. I
nowhere.
absolutely. Leclerc did not deserve that kind of bad luck in the opening race.
I know, right? I know. Although Carlos did put in a amazing performance, he was at points like he was like 3 seconds away from Checo or something like that, keeping up with the Red Bull, and that gave me hope that Ferrari can do it. They have a very good package. The tire degradation is nowhere near as bad as it was in the previous season. The race pace feels good. I think that they have taken the hit in the qualifying though, because if you remember, since the start of the ground effects era, Ferrari has been very, very strong in qualifying. They did not appear that strong in qualifying, to me at least, this time around. The RB20 definitely has a lot of pace, especially in the hands of Max. And yeah, Mercedes is just disappointment again. This is the third time they have revised the car and they have not gotten it right, I feel like, yeah, Hamilton and Russell both are saying that, it's a good base to build on, but oh my god.
Well, I think Mercedes is somewhat there, but it's just they can't fixate themselves upon one particular package. Just jumping from
Mm-hmm.
one thing to another thing. They can't find something that they're truly comfortable with.
True.
And in the long run, I think that's going to hit them a lot.
Yes. It is like for Merck, I think so. This is going to be a very, very, busy season, because let's not forget the 2024 concepts are going to stay more or less the same going in 2025, as all the teams are going to focus on 2026 next year. So it was very crucial to get the base right this year, and I think so Mercedes might have missed the mark again.
Well, let's just hope that Mercedes pulls up a McLaren the way they did in last year, and they get their step up by the second half of the season.
Let's hope.
Let's
Let's
just be
hope.
hopeful. And also,
Yes.
they gotta take a big hit considering Hamilton is leaving next year.
Mm-hmm. That is like, this is basically year zero for the Hamilton era of Ferrari. It is going to be interesting how that teammate dynamic plays out. But yeah, there are a lot of stories going into next year now. And Bahrain, while it was a boring race, to be honest, like almost nothing happened. Even the midfield, all we saw were some lockups. So
Yeah,
Bahrain,
that's there. I mean, the circuit was it's not tricky circuit to be honest, but there are a lot of lockups from many people, and it was a little bit disappointing to watch. And then again, there was Red Bull one to finish that fans are quite bored of by now.
yeah, yeah. So let's see. Let's move on to the next segment now, which is Alpine. Oh my god, Alpine.
Ah, oh my
Like
goodness,
that
a team
performance,
to
like,
forget.
I know, right? I mean, how can a manufacturer fall so down so badly? Like, let's just map Alpine's trajectory in the turbo hybrid era. They finished fourth in 2022, ahead of McLaren, ahead of Aston Martin. Both of those teams leapfrogged them. Alpine were in a no man's land last year, but they still got podiums, like. Ocon in Monaco, Gasly in Hungary. Gasly also got a sprint podium in Spa, and both of them knocked out in Q1. That car is overweight,
That was disappointing.
underpowered.
That was just, that's something you might expect from teams like Stake, maybe.
Yeah,
But to see that
honestly,
from
yes.
Alpine, that was just heartbreaking, to be honest.
Exactly, and it does not help that they have by far the worst livery on the grid. So that car is even more painful to watch.
Ah, my goodness. Oh, not to mention all the management changes that's happening inside. So
I know. Like
that's
literally after
going
the
on from
race,
there.
their head of aero and the head of engines, I think so, they
Yeah,
resigned. Both of them resigned. We also don't
it
know
just
who is
shows
going
that
to be
the
the team
team is
principal.
headed for a downfall.
Yeah, I mean, I can just imagine Fernando Alonso and Oscar Piastri. They're just having little, text messages back and forth. Just Alonso is going to be smug while watching Alpine.
Oh my goodness.
It was a weekend to forget. It might be a season to forget for Alpine. Like they need something very, very good to come out of this. And I don't think so it's going to happen. I mean, they don't even have a proper team principal yet. Bruno Faman is just the interim team principal. They have no clear direction. They have no clear developmental path. I don't know, like, how are Alpine gonna come out of this, if they are gonna come out of this.
Let's just hope that they find little bit of peace, little bit of direction and where to go
True,
coming forward.
exactly.
But for now, they are by far the worst team.
By far. Like even Haas looked better than them. Speaking of Haas, let's
Huh?
discuss Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia was a very interesting weekend, to be honest. Like through and through, the performances we saw, the mistakes, like Lance Stroll just going straight into the wall. That was painful to watch. But that gave us, the opportunity for the midfield teams to score a lot of points, and I think so. Haas took the best advantage of them. K-Mag obviously having those 20 seconds or whatever worth of penalties he got, which I kind of don't agree with. Like that overtake, like when he overtook Alex Albon and he just went slightly off track. That 10 seconds for that?
Well, that's
Um,
true. But then if you see the reason why that 10-second rule was added, it was earlier 5 seconds and then it was made 10 seconds this season onwards. In my opinion, in tough circuits like street circuits and all of that, I think
mhm.
this rule is actually quite fair
It
because
is, it is fair, but
overtaking is difficult and yeah,
it is fair, but that incident, when you look back at it, I don't think so. Like that warranted, leaving the track and gaining an advantage. So I think so. It was a little bit of harsh from these towards K-Mag, considering Lando didn't get a penalty for the jump start, which very clearly was a jump start.
uh, but yes, that was
So
very controversial.
yeah, I don't
The
know. Like what
entire
was
jump
FI
start
doing there?
that was a little bit messy right there.
Exactly. Speaking of Haas, let's come to Oli Bearman and his performance. We all know that Carlos Sainz couldn't attend the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix because of his surgery, and Oli Bearman was thrown into the car at the 11th hour, and he performed brilliantly. He almost knocked Lewis Hamilton out of Q3. He
Three
almost did that.
hundredths of a second. And that's a very fine margin.
Exactly.
Someone to debut from F2 to F1 and then being that close to a 8-time world champion. That's
Seven,
crazy.
seven.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, but that was a mighty fine performance, considering Bearman was on pole in F2 as well at Jeddah. But yeah, like you do not expect rookies to perform that good, especially at a track like Jeddah Corniche Circuit, which is a street circuit, such a difficult track to drive around. We've seen so many drivers make mistakes here, like Lance Stroll, we already spoke about him. Mick Schumacher made mistakes. Max Verstappen himself shunted that, very famously in the 2021 qualifying session. And Bearman to
Yeah.
make no mistakes and bring it home in P7, that is impressive. That is really impressive.
Well, we all have our massive respects for Oliver Bearman in that race. But speaking of Oliver Bearman and Haas, one thing that I would like to point out is that even though Magnussen gained those 20 seconds of penalty, but the teamwork that has showed at the later ends of the races so that Nico Hülkenberg could get into the points, that was really impressive.
That was
That was
absolutely amazing.
when you know your car is not right there battling for points, you need this sort of teamwork to really get over there to get those points to increase
Exactly.
your lead in the constructors.
Yes, and Haas played that perfectly. The strategy was on point. Like, so credits to A. Komatsu and the strategy team at Haas. They did a phenomenal job. They did not botch any pit
Truly,
stops.
truly.
Sauber. So Haas, good job. Yeah, talking
Talking
about
about
botched pit
Verstappen and
stops.
Sergio, I have to say Bottas has to be the
Exactly.
most unluckiest driver when it comes to pit stops.
Exactly. That is like clouding the performances from both Bottas and Show. Like, is it the car? Is it the team? Is it the drivers? You cannot say like these factors are specifically contributing to Sauber's basically underperformance. And when you know that this team is going to be Audi in the coming years, I don't think so this is acceptable.
Well, I mean, I think the management will surely change when Audi takes over. But yeah, I mean, they're making a lot of mistakes recently, and we can't really afford those many mistakes to when you're fighting against other teams.
Well, now let's come to the winners and losers from Bahrain and Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So I think so the biggest winner obviously is Red Bull and Max Verstappen. Even Sergio Perez, to be honest. They have got in the car again. They are dominating again. Although they are not as far as they would like from the other teams, they are catching. So I think so. Red Bull are winners, but there is a slight asterisk. They are not as far as they would have liked. Ferrari, I would consider as winners. Like obviously Carlos Sainz's performance in Bahrain, Charles Leclerc in Saudi Arabia, both of them were very good. And Oliver Bearman doing P7 in a car which he just jumped in 1 hour before. That shows that the Ferrari is actually a very easy car to drive. It's not as difficult as say the SF23 was last year. So that is a very, very big plus. The tire degradation is nowhere near as bad as last year, and they have got good race pace. So Ferrari would be a big winner. I would also say McLaren to be a
Yeah, that's
winner.
it. Because like, if we talk about Bahrain, and we talk about how the cars were on the track, we saw a lot of tire degradation. We saw the wind playing a very important factor. But
Mm-hmm.
Ferrari seemed to be quite smooth on both of those tracks, not just Bahrain, but even in Jeddah. And
Yeah,
Oliver Bearman quite proved it. The car was responding to the driver, and that is exactly what we want to see.
true, true, true. I would even go as far as to say that McLaren is a winner, considering they were zero last year on these tracks.
Surely, McLaren has upped their game a lot, and it's good to see a young driver and another experienced driver. I just hope Lando gets his first win soon by now.
Yeah, even me. Like that is the one thing that is bothering him a lot. I think so. That should not be held against him. Like he's a phenomenal driver, Lando Norris, and not having that win is the only thing he lacks. He'll get it soon. I have faith in
That's true.
him. Go Lando. Now coming to
Speaking about
again.
Red Bull,
Yeah.
as I was saying, speaking about Red Bull, we saw that in the first two races in Bahrain and Jeddah, Red Bull got a 1-2 finish, and I guess it was a little bit expected from Max to win races. There were predictions saying that Max will win all of the races this season.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we should also talk about Checo a bit because,
Yeah.
as we all know, he's losing his seat very soon. He's not going to be there in Red Bull for
Probably,
a long time.
probably.
And yeah, probably. But if he wants to keep that seat, he has to show the performance. And
And he is quite doing that.
even though his performance was a little bit poor in qualifying, but when it came to the race, like the actual race, when we had to do like 50 plus laps,
Mm-hmm.
Checo really showed that he is worthy of that Red Bull seat.
Mm-hmm. I feel like
Getting right
Checo.
behind Max, battling Max, and getting those points for the team, that is exactly what you want from a second driver.
Yes, and he's doing that quite well. Checo is genuinely showing amazing pace this time around. But that's one thing that concerns me. Checo always performs very good at the start of the season and falls back as the season progresses.
Uh,
Let's hope that this is not a repeat of the same thing.
well, we can keep our hopes.
Yeah. Coming to the winners again, one of the big winners that I would say is Haas. Definitely, Haas has gotten a car which is good, which is quite good, unlike what Eo Komatsu believed at the start of preseason testing. I think so all of those, high runs where Haas was just trying to understand how the car behaves, that has paid off massively. And the strategy department did a phenomenal job to get that point in Jeddah. I think so Haas has got a good package. So I would even say Haas are
Surely,
winners here.
yeah, I will be very much surprised if Haas is anywhere below P8 in the constructors. They don't deserve a P9 or P10 considering their current performances.
Yes, definitely. And speaking of performance, let's come to the losers now. The first loser that I would like to put in, obviously, is Alpine. Alpine is nowhere. They are so poor.
If we talk about certainties in F1, one certainty is that Max will always be dominating, at least this season, and the other certainty is that Alpine will always be disappointing us.
Exactly, and this is heartbreaking from Alpine. They should really fix it. Let's see what Bruno Faman and the Renault Group has for us in store as the season progresses. Another big losers that I would say are the entire Racing Bulls or the Visa Cash App RB team. The tension is already starting to show with that unnecessarily aggressive move by Yuki at the end of Bahrain in the cooldown lap. That was sketchy. And, Daneric spinning on his own in Jeddah. So, RB, they have...
Honestly speaking, I think RB is really not in a position to choose favorites when it comes to their drivers, because Tsunoda is doing well, Ricciardo not as much, but if you start saying that one of the drivers is the first driver and the other is the second one, I don't think they are going to reach near the points. They need to learn something from Haas and get that teamwork going,
Which is difficult though when you're fighting for the career, to be honest. Your career depends on the season. If Yuki finishes lower than Daniel, he loses his seat. If Yuki finishes higher than Daniel, he might have another go at F1. Same for Daneric. So there is a lot at stake for both of these drivers, and the tension is reaching ugly levels, and we are not even into the third race of the season yet. So Lauren Mekies has a lot to figure out. Another losers...
That's true.
Yeah, another losers that I would put is, honestly, Williams. I was expecting them to do better, and they are not delivering. Also, we have already heard the rumors, or not the rumors, the reports from what happened in the winter, that the team was being managed on an Excel spreadsheet. It was so traditional, all the traditional ways. Pat Fry coming in and he's saying it was the worst winter that he has experienced in any Formula One team. Williams has a long way to go.
Well, I think Williams have their edge when it comes to certain parts of the race, but they really just need to put it all together, think about the strategies in the right way, and they shouldn't be that far off.
Yeah, they're bordering on the edge of breaking through, but until that breakthrough occurs, we have to wait and see what happens. So that's it for today.
Williams, it surely is becoming right.
Yeah. For Williams, I think so they might be able to do it. They have the right people in place, with James Wallace in place, with Pat Fry now coming there. They have a very good driver in Alex Albon. They have a very good developing driver in Logan Sargent. Their academy drivers are doing very good, Gabriel Bortoleto. So they have a very good roadmap. They have investment coming from Doralton Capital and Duracell, their other sponsors. We've finally started seeing sponsors on the Williams car with Komatsu returning. So that is a very, very good sign that Williams is making good progress. And let's see if they can fulfill their promises here.
Sure.
So that's it for today. And we'll be meeting you very, very soon in the next episode. Bye-bye.